Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. In celebration of Boxing Day, which is not really an American thing, but I guess Canadian and the UK, whatever. In celebration of Boxing Day, we're gonna do some matchups with fragrances. So I have here 5 different fragrances, the original iteration, and then a flanker of that fragrance. And I'm gonna let you guys know which one I think is better and why. We have both some big time heavy hitter designer fragrances here and some that fly a little bit more under the radar. So let's jump into it and celebrate Boxing Day with a boxing match, but that's not even what the holiday was. Who cares? Today's video is brought to you courtesy of fragrancebuy.ca. You'll see where the Canadian thing ties in. So they have a special running right now, a sale, which is running from December 24th, which is in the past as of when you're watching this, up through December 27th at 11:59 p.m. So once it clicks over to 11:28, sale's done. That's it. Like with most of their sales, they've got a bunch of door crashers. So as soon as you log on to the website, you're going to see a bunch of different fragrances on the homepage with great sales prices. But the big deal here is the codes. So there are 2 codes that you can use. The first is Boxing Day 2021. That will get you 10% off your order as long as you spend $49 Canadian or above. So that one's pretty simple. 10% off. Easy peasy. The next code is a little more complex. The code is BOGO Box 21. That's BOGO Box 21, and that will get you buy one, get one 25% off. The minimum order is $99, so keep that in mind, but that's not where it ends. It gets more complex because it's an unlimited buy one, get one 25% off. So what does that mean? That means you buy 4, then 2 of those are 25% off. You buy 6, then 3 of those are 25% off. You buy 20, then 10 of those are 25% off. And the ones that are 25% off are the fragrances that are the lowest value in your cart. If you use that code, it's $5 flat shipping to anywhere in Canada, $7 flat shipping in the US. So there we go, Boxing Day sale. Check it out, fragrancebuy.ca, link in the description. And those are your codes. Now let's finally get into some freaking fragrances here. First off, I've got Prada L'Homme. Yeah, good old Prada L'Homme, the office staple for so many guys out there. Really love this fragrance, of course. And it's going up against Prada L'Homme, Not Intense. ABSOLU. Yeah, ABSOLU. It's actually been a while since I've seen this one for sale at a discounter, and fragrancebuy.ca has some of them, at least as of when I'm filming. Now this one came out, if memory serves, in 2018, and it wasn't too much of a hit really. Kind of came and went very quickly. Basically the presentation is Prada L'Homme Intense, but with a different leather bag, which I actually like. Now Prada L'Homme has iris, amber, neroli, and pepper as some of the notes in the fragrance. Like I said, this one is an office staple. It's fresh, it's soapy, it's clean, it's a little bit powdery, and it's a fragrance that so many guys rock, basically spring through summer through fall. Prada L'Homme ABSOLU, you're going to find a prominent cardamom note, which is not present in Prada L'Homme. You also have green mandarin in here, along with amber and of course iris tying it in with all the other L'Homme fragrances. Now, Prada L'Homme ABSOLU I reviewed not long after it first came out. Haven't really touched on it since then. It's not my favorite of the Prada L'Homme line, and between these 2, if I could take only one, it would be the original Prada L'Homme. This one just works a little bit better for me for the situations that I'd want to wear it in. This one I viewed almost as like a fragrance that would be used in the same times as Prada L'Homme Intense, but it's a fragrance that is not quite as good as Prada L'Homme Intense is. And so it ended up just kind of falling by the wayside. Not that it's a bad fragrance, it's just, you know, if I'm looking for a Prada L'Homme I'm gonna wear in fall and winter, it's gonna be Intense, not ABSOLU. And I guess a lot of people felt that way because, like I said, this kind of came and went without too much fuss. And for that matter, Prada L'Homme Intense is kaput too. So for me, the original Prada L'Homme is the way that I would go, with a caveat. This fragrance, as of right now, Prada L'Homme ABSOLU, is more collectible. It's harder to find. And if you really like the Prada L'Homme line, I would go ahead and scoop this one up. And again, that one is not a bad fragrance at all. It's just, it goes head to head with Prada L'Homme Intense, and for me, it loses out. Next up, Lacoste Match Point, the Eau de Toilette, going up against the Eau de Parfum. Now, Match Point, the EDT, I really enjoyed when it came out for what it was, which is to say it's a Lacoste fragrance. It's just made to be worn easily, casually, or to the office without much thought put into it, with a little bit of a sporty flair. And it does have kind of a classy edge to it. It's fresh, clean, aromatic green. It has a prominent basil note that you're going to pick up in here, which really helps give it that herbal kind of feeling. And then you have a touch of vetiver in the base, along with grapefruit and geranium. Whereas Match Point Eau de Parfum takes really a similar tact as the Eau de Toilette. You know, you can draw a line from the EDT to the EDP. They're not massively different, but here it introduces cardamom, which gives it a little bit of an additional spicy sweetness, and also some floral notes that are more prominent. Now, this one is pretty difficult. I don't think that either fragrance is necessarily amazing, but these are the type of fragrances that you look for at discounters for a heavy discount. And if you can pick them up, you know, sub $50, then they're worth it. If you pay more than that, they're really not. If you're looking for something that's more of a fresh springtime scent, you go for this one. If you want something that's greener, herbal, fresher, you go for this one. If you want something that has a touch more powder, a little bit more sweetness, and also has a floral nuance to it, you're more of an evening take on this, then you go for this. Now, for me, it was a toss-up. I think that they're pretty equal. I wouldn't say that one is a lot better than the other, so I had my wife do the tiebreaker. She picked this. So for me, I think it's 6 half dozen. They're both really nice. It just depends on what you want, and as long as you get it for the right price, I should say. But my wife thinks the Eau de Toilette is better, so that one gets the win. Next up, Lalique, and we have Lalique White, and then the new Lalique White in black. Now, interestingly enough, both of these fragrances get compared to Parfums de Marly fragrances. This one gets compared to Galloway. This one gets compared to Leighton. Between the two, I'd say this is probably a bit closer or reminds me more of Leighton than this one reminds me of Galloway, but I get the comparisons. Lalique White has lemon leaf, cedar bergamot, and pepper. It's a very classy scent. It's got a lot of versatility to it, but white and black for me, yeah, it's just on a different level. Vanilla, cardamom, ambroxan, lavender, some of the notes in this fragrance. It smells great. It's really, really, really good. And assuming that you're going to be able to find this at discounters, even close to what you can find this one for, it's going to be a huge steal in the years to come. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's warm, it's attention grabbing, it smells fantastic. The quality is very good. It's got this gimmicky kind of pencil that comes in the box where you can write on this bottle like it's a chalkboard, so you can customize the bottle. It's not really necessary, but it's something. White and black for me all day. Now, I really like Lalique White. I think this is a solid fragrance, especially for the price, but this is the type of fragrance that for a lot of people, it's going to become one of their signature scents, which I guess, to be fair, Lalique White is that for a lot of people as well. So I kind of take that back, but you know what I mean. After that, Terre d'Hermès, yes, the classic. So we have the original Terre d'Hermès Eau de Toilette, and then Terre d'Hermès Eau Intense Vetiver. Now, when Eau Intense Vetiver first came out, a lot of people weren't overly enthused, you could say, because it was done by Christine Nagel, and some people were saying, "Oh, I don't like that. Don't mess with it. Don't put your spin on Terre d'Hermès." You know, they didn't like the changing of the guard perfumer-wise, you could say. Now, these two fragrances are not as different as some people would say. Now, there's definite differences between the two, but it's not as night and day as like Lalique White and White and Black. Terre d'Hermès, the original, has a much more pronounced orange note. It has more of that flinty earthiness that will drive some people away. Whereas this one, Eau Intense Vetiver, has more of a lemony bergamot kind of citrus opening. It comes across a little bit cleaner, and the vetiver is more pronounced initially, more in your face. On the whole, it really just depends on what you like. You'll see some people say, "Eau Intense Vetiver is way more wearable." than the original. And that's because when you first spray it on, you don't get hit with as much of that flinty, dirty orange. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you'll have people that say, no, Terre d'Hermès, the original, more wearable and also more unique. Both fragrances to me are great, but I'm a sucker for VETIVER, and Terre d'Hermès, the original, one of my favorite fragrances ever. So that also kind of makes this not really a very fair matchup. Between the two, if I could take just one, it would be the original. I do think it has a little more character to it, and I don't mind that dirty orange. I like it. But if you don't like that part of the fragrance, then check this one out, because there are lots of people out there who don't enjoy that opening of Terre d'Hermès, and then they'll go toward this one and say, hey, I like what they did with the opening. I like how they switched it around a little bit, cleaned it up ever so slightly. You can still pick up an earthy vibe from Oh Intense VETIVER, just not as much as in the original. For me, you can't go wrong with either one, but I like the original a little more. And then last but not least, we have Kenzo Homme going up against Kenzo Homme BOISEE, or woody. So note-wise, in the original, you're going to find C notes along with a multitude of aromatic notes and woodsy notes, whereas in woody, you're going to find basil and mint along with cedar and vetiver. Now with the original, which I think easily, and I don't believe many people would argue this the other way, is the more important fragrance of the two. It's the one that made a bigger impact, but the original has sort of this throwback, woody, soapy vibe to it. So a bit of this masculine soapiness to it, masculine throwback soapiness a little bit. This one is green, aromatic, and woodsy in a more modern way, but still with one of its feet in the past. Now that one is not really new. It came out in 2010, so it's been out for a minute, but even when you smell it, you'll think, yeah, 2010, well, it smells like it could have came out in 1999. Not in a bad way. It just has that kind of duality to it. Now, I really like having both in my collection, and Kenzo is a house I enjoy a lot, but as far as the one that I would rather wear nowadays, probably be this one. As I mentioned, the more important fragrance easily is the original, and if you have one of the old school original bottles, one of the vintages, I would take that over this easily, but that's not what we're talking about here today. So both smell very pleasant. Both are going to appeal to people that do like fragrances from decades gone by, but of the two, I'll take this one. So there we have it, a Boxing Day battle of originals versus flankers, and this time the originals win. Although I guess it was really a toss-up that my wife decided with Match Point. Yeah, of all these fragrances, Match Point. I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? With the name. I didn't think about that. All right, guys, it's going to do it for me. Thanks for hanging with me today. Thanks for all your support. Again, link in the description to fragrancebuy.ca. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.